So you've beat the campaign and you've made it to high rank at Monster Hunter. And if you're anything like me, you were kind of just curious to see what's out there, right? What builds have people already come up with? Because, you know, you've heard a million people saying they've hit Hunter rank 100, Hunter rank 999. So, of course, they have to have had some build that's showing off how they have just made their kits so crazy. But if you're like me, a lot of what you've been checking are what I'd like to refer to as pure builds, where it's the traditional Monster Hunter approach of we've only had access to one weapon, so here's all of the different decorations and armor bonuses and set bonuses that you can kind of just fuse together to make this crazy build to have your one weapon do as much damage as possible. But this is Monster Hunter Wilds we're talking about now. They gave us access to 2 weapons, yet all of the guides that I've been seeing online are here's how to make this one weapon hit like a truck, or here's how you make this weapon just sweep monsters left and right. So I wanted to try and make a guide on how to kind of build around using both weapons. This might come off a little scuffed, it may be rough around the edges, but I at least want to treat this more so as a level of direction, where this isn't the end all be all. I'm not about to show you the craziest build you've ever seen, but this is for the newcomers who are potentially newer to building a set out for a weapon. Plus the game gave us access to like 140 loadouts or something like that. So why not spend some extra time, couple extra resources in game to try and mess around with something that'll work for both weapons. Now, as a quick disclaimer, like I said earlier, if you have not beaten the story mode, if you're one of those people who's like, oh, I'm gonna go and try and make every armor set and make my character look as cool as possible, you might want to wait until after you beat the campaign and get to that next level where all of your time spent grinding is going to be a little bit more worth it. But with that disclaimer out of the way, let's get back into what we're here for. To a degree, I am going to be using my own build attempt as a reference point, just like I said, to try and lead you all in some direction of understanding how to go about this. Starting with, I guess, my first tip: understand your weapons. More like understand the synergy behind your weapon. The 2 weapons I'm trying to make a build for right now are going to be the switch axe and the dual blades. What are some of the similarities between the 2 weapons? Both of them have a lot of gauges, right? You have the demon mode, which has me losing stamina, but I'm gaining a second bar to be able to do some of my demon mode like abilities without having to use the stamina. It'll use the gauge instead. Similar to the switch axe, where I have a gauge for how much I can use my sword form on top of building up my sword for the bigger attacks, and then having the switch axe, the axe form, doing my multiple swings and then hammering down for a power up for my axe. So there's a lot of different gauges and things to keep track of, which help me understand what skills I'm aiming to focus, which leads me to the first point of skills. There are 3 skill types with what I would say 2 subcategories. The main 3 types are going to be armor skills, weapon skills, and decorations, right? That is going to be the main things that you're seeing on your screen. The subcategories are what I refer to as the set and group bonuses. The weapon skills typically going to influence the weapon specific abilities, while the armor skills are going to focus on providing utility and support. The way I thought it worked was that if you put a bunch of weapon skills in one weapon and put a different set of skill in the other weapons, they would stack if you have both weapons in your loadout. So like if I had power prolonger on an axe and power prolonger on my dual blades, then it would give me power prolonger level 2. That's not how that works. Basically, I would have to stack all of my weapon skills on my first weapon, and then when I switch, it will give me a second set of weapons. The only thing that stays consistent are going to be the armor skills. And the decorations are basically going to be what gets you up to closer to those max ranks for the weapons or armor specific skills, which is why you've probably seen a lot of YouTube videos on that about best missions to farm gems and things of that nature. So based off my build, I would want to take things like weakness exploit as an armor skill, On top of that, I would want to take something like Part Breaker, since I'm going to be doing a lot of damage to parts naturally. These are armor skills that are helpful with both weapons that I'm using. I would also want Flare to make it easier to inflict the wounds. Let that and the weakness exploit play hand in hand. Then when it comes down, Evade Window would also be a very good one, extending the invulnerability period to make up for my shorter dodge window or dodge distance on the sword version of my switch axe. And if I put evade window for my dual blades, it increases the evade window for me to get perfect parries as well, which doesn't hurt to have for both of my weapons. And then when it comes down to the weapon skills, that's when I would want to take something a little bit more catered to the individual weapons. And then let's say for my dual blades, I could put on a decoration that, like razor sharp, that prevents my weapon from losing sharpness. Put that decoration on my dual blades, since I would be breaking wounds and losing a lot of sharpness if I didn't have something like that, going down the full length of the monster, and every single one of those counting as an attack. If I put a decoration skill that prevents me losing that sharpness, that keeps my weapon sharp a lot longer, allowing me to do my good damage for longer. But that's getting put on the dual blade specifically so that I'm not messing up the efficiency of my switch axe. And like I said, I just wanted this to be a brief overview of understanding what the different skill types and using decorations and stuff are important for, because I feel like a lot of guys that I've seen so far either assume that you already know it or are trying to treat it like a tier list where it's like these are the skills that you need to have in order to make this weapon work well. I didn't want to go that in depth because I know there are a lot of people that kind of want to figure that type of thing out for themselves, but just didn't understand what made certain skills better than others for what it is they're trying to do with their level of play. Plus, this is in a sense kind of a live service game, so we never know. They could nerf or buff certain skills at some point, add new skills as the game goes on. We never know. But like I said, I just wanted to use this as a level of direction for those who still want to figure it out for themselves, but just needed a brief overview of like what the different skills are or how they help your build and how they mesh with each other. So hopefully this helped in some way, shape, or form. If you want to see more videos like this of guides or certain things that the game or other people might not be explaining fully, let me know in the comments. But like I said, I wanted to keep this short. I know a lot of people are enjoying the game, so I'll see you all in the next video and enjoy your hunting.